Perfect. You can put it over there. Okay, good morning. Today is what? February the 10th, right? And it is Wednesday, and there's only one more day until Friday after today, and it is our Valentine's Day party. Yay! Who wants to party? Me. Allison doesn't want to party. Allison. All right, so anyhow, we're going to party, right? So that means that if you bring something, at least make sure you bring enough for the homeroom, okay? All right? So if you want to give somebody something special and individual, you have to do that after class, okay? Like you can do that on the bus or you can do that outside of the classroom. But to be fair to everybody, we're going to provide for everybody in the classroom, okay? All right, so there's a class list on Class Dojo that your parents can access, okay? And then you can see how many students are in Miss Solis' class, how many students are in Miss Caraballo's class. Miss Caraballo might bring her PS4. Or we might just watch a movie. What do you prefer? Movie? Yeah. Raise your hand if movie or PS4. Movie. Raise your hand for movie. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then PS4. Rachel, you didn't vote. Can't see your hand, sister. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we'll have to count with everybody else, but we could probably do both, okay? All right, so here's the deal. Today, we start off with what subject? With science. And what is our objective for the day? So we are over here, and we're going to be talking about being able to measure, record, and predict changes to what? In what? In weather, exactly. So you've been working on your weather table chart, right? Let's pull it up really quickly. If you are online and you have no idea what Ms. Caraballo is talking about, let's see here. So when you go into Bitmoji Classroom, right, into the science agenda, you will find what are you going to find on the first slide? Your videos, right? So if you have to stay home for whatever reason, you're sick or your parents are sick, then you just go in here like you typically do for class and you'll be able to find everything you need, okay? So in our science agenda, if you pull up the science agenda, you can also find the weather data chart. And what are we using that this week for? Can someone raise their hand and tell me what we're doing with that chart? Francisco. So we're using the weather data chart to track the weather, the temperature, right? Precipitation. What did we say precipitation was? It's going to rain, the wind direction, and weather conditions for 5 days, right? So today is Wednesday. On this day right here, what should you put? February what? 10th, correct? And then what time? So if you plan on doing it right now, everyone should have their notebooks open to the weather data chart. Since we're talking about it, you want to look at it at the same time that Miss Caraballo's doing that. So, amigo, ¿tú entendiste lo que yo dije? So, estamos haciendo ¿qué? Esto. So, vamos a inferenciar. Si la maestra saca esto, ¿qué yo debo de hacer? Sacarlo, right? Perfecto. Okay, so what are we on day 3, correct? So if we're on day 3, estamos día 3. The date is what? February 10th. The time is what? If you look down here, it's 7:52 a.m., okay? Now I'm going to give you the temperature and you are going to fill out the rest of the things on that chart. The temperature as of 7:53 in the morning, it is 34 degrees. 34 degrees. What is 34 degrees? No. Tú puedes tratar, vamos. 34. So there's 10, 20, 30. ¿Qué es 30? Excellent. Yes, exactly. So 34 degrees. Okay? So it's 34 degrees outside. So it's going to be high 41 degrees and low 30 degrees. So what does that mean? What does it mean high 41 and low 30? ¿Qué significa que los altos van a ser 41 y lo más bajo 30? ¿Alguien que quiera decirme más o menos? What do you think that means? Yes, sir. Say that again. Okay, water could freeze because that is part of what we've talked about, freezing temperatures, right? But what does high 41 mean? Yes. Okay, it is going to be cold, but that means that the highest temperature is going to be 41 and the lowest is going to be what? 30. Okay? So, do you think it's cold outside? Yes. Okay, for some people, it might not be that cold because this is the weather that they've always been around and they're accustomed to it. But maybe from someone from an island like me, no, I'm already used to it. But like my sister who came from the island like less than 5 years ago, she still feels super cold at 70 degrees. So when I go visit her, I'm like, nena, aquí hace calor. It's hot, you know? But for her, it's cold. All right, so we're going to move on. So you know what to do in the chart, right? Let's go ahead and I can show you. Marti, give me your notebook. So far, the things that we've been doing on our notebook look like this, okay? So Marti has been filling out his notebook daily. He made a mistake here because he put yesterday's date. So we need to change that, Marti, okay? All right. Daily conditions. Is it snowing? No, sir. It's sure. Well, what state are you recording your data for? Alaska? No. Okay. So yeah. So we're not gonna put snow here because it's not snowing outside. Is this wishful thinking? Did you want it to snow? Yes. Okay. But yeah, it would not be correct though. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. All right. And Miss Farrington can explain this to us as far as what we want to do. But our temperature is not Celsius. Okay. We actually do Fahrenheit. All right. Okay. So prediction for tomorrow, he said the same. Okay. So I'm going to tell you honestly, yesterday afternoon, what happened yesterday? The sun came out, right? And I thought that with the sun coming out, it was going to be what? Would it be colder or warmer? However, did it feel colder in the afternoon than it did in the morning? Yes, it sure did. I was not prepared for the afternoon weather when I was standing in car line, okay? It was pretty cold. So I'm going to give this back to Mike D so he can make his corrections on his paper, all right? And then we're going to turn over to Miss Farrington. Okay? Let me change the view of the camera.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Okay, so Jonathan's the only one who knows how to say buenos dias.
Okay, so today I'm gonna explain a little bit about. There's some things I heard that you need work on. One is Celsius and Fahrenheit. Celsius is part of the metric scale. That's like centimeters, milliliters, that sort of stuff. So in science, they actually do use Celsius, right? When they, when you use a thermometer in a lab or take temperatures, that's what scientists usually use. But everyday people in the United States typically use standard measure. And so a lot of times when you watch the weather here, it will be in Fahrenheit. Has anybody ever lived any place where they talk about Celsius, temperature in Celsius? No. Because other countries, I don't think use Fahrenheit. Well, Puerto Rico probably does, but does Mexico use Fahrenheit or Celsius?
All these people are born here speak that.
So none of them have lived elsewhere. So, anyhow, water freezes.
Except my friend here, he's from Honduras. ¿Cómo en Honduras? ¿Cómo se, tú sabes cuando hablan de la temperatura, si usan Celsius o no sabes qué tipo de temperatura cuando hablan de ella, qué usan? No, okay.
Okay.
See, he says that in Mexico they do use Celsius.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to rearrange this a little bit, and let's do some vocabulary to begin with, and then we'll talk about warm and cold pricing and prediction. Okay, so let's talk about Celsius. So somebody talked about that, they thought the water, the rain, the precipitation was going to change because of the temperature, because water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And is it very close to that temperature today? It's very close. So, did anybody watch the weather report this morning? No? So, on the weather this morning, he said, we could have some frozen precipitation. We could have freezing rain this afternoon if the temperature drops, because we are very close to the freezing temperature. But he said he didn't expect it because the ground is not frozen here. The ground is pretty warm still. So, but there's one place that you have to be careful, and that's bridges. Because any higher ground or bridges, bridges freeze before the road does, because there's no ground underneath to keep it warm.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So, what's funny is that when I moved to the United States for the first time, and I ever saw, have you ever been driving with your parents and you see a sign on the road that says, bridge ice is before road? So you gotta look at it. Before you cross the bridge from now on, look at it, right? So I had no idea what that meant because there's no freezing temperature in Puerto Rico. It's the same temperature all year long. We experience summer from January to December, okay?
I know.
Yeah. So it's about, in the summer, it gets about 112 degrees, okay? 114 degrees. And so if you live closer to the mountains, 70-degree weather feels freezing, okay? So when I go visit my mom's like, oh, it's freezing in my house. And I go in there and I'm like sweating, pouring in sweat. And I'm like, it's not freezing here. She's like, but it is, because she's used to 114 weather.
So your body adjusts to
Yes.
the climate. So that's not really weather, that's climate.
Yes, sorry.
So it's because climate is year round. So the climate in Texas, the summer climate is what? What is the temperatures in the summer here?
Hot, but
Hot.
what numbers, do you know?
Yeah. Around between 90s and 100s, right? And 90 to 110, in that range usually. Where I come from, June is still in the 70s, low 80s. You have a couple nice 80 days. July is in the 80s usually, with some days in the 60s and 70s, because you'll have cold days. And you get 1 or 2 weeks in the 90s. So a lot of the older houses in New England, where I'm from, don't even have air conditioning, because it's a much cooler climate, but they have wood stoves. How many of you have burned wood and have a wood stove in your house? Every day, all winter, I had to haul wood into the house and burn wood, because it's so expensive to heat your house there that many people have wood stoves or wood furnaces or even fireplaces to help keep their homes. Do you have to, do you keep a fire going all winter here? No, because one day it's 80, the next day it's 60. Some days it's 30. So the weather is, the climate here in the winter varies a lot, from very cold to warm, right? And it's hot in the summer. So much hotter climate. So if New Hampshire and where I'm from is up here, northern part of the United States, and Texas is down here, who's closer to the equator? New Hampshire or Texas?
¿Sabemos lo que es el Ecuador?
I wish I.
Do we know what the equator is? Yes?
Well, right,
The location.
Right.
Vamos a buscarlo. We're gonna.
I need to get to a map.
Okay, let's pull up a map really quickly of the equator. Okay.
Because the equator has a lot to do with, here, I'll come up here, because and I can use. I feel funny teaching back there. Yeah. All right. So the equator is important.
Okay.
Yep. So when you look at the globe, this is the part that's closest to the sun. We haven't really okay. Because what shape is the Earth? Not a circle. Who said sphere? It's a sphere. It's like a ball, right? So the center part of that ball or sphere is actually the closest to the sun. So this is where it's hottest. This is where the most direct sunlight hits planet Earth. So here, Puerto Rico's in there someplace. Texas right here someplace. Here's Mexico. Here's New Hampshire. So who is closer, New Hampshire or Texas to the equator? Texas. So the closer you are to the equator, generally the hotter the climate.
This is where Puerto Rico might be. Por aquí. Can you see it?
So are they closer than Texas to the equator? Yes.
Because Texas is like around here. See?
Right.
Texas around here, Puerto Rico acá.
And so also things that affect your weather are whether there's land or ocean, because moisture gets picked up on the ocean. So I think I told you Florida, and probably the same in Puerto Rico, every afternoon usually, quick shower. Is there a lot of rain in Puerto Rico?
There's a lot of rain.
Like quick showers, right? It doesn't stall like this.
It's very humid. So like if you have like really straight, like for example, I don't have straight hair like Miss Farrington, right? So if I straighten out my hair with like a blow dryer or a flat iron, when I get out of the airplane, my hair goes and it freezes up and it frizzes up.
And mine gets stuck to my head.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's humidity.
So weather is influenced by a lot of things. How close you are to the equator, whether or not you're near water or land. Let's see, whether you're in the mountains.
Okay, let me change the view of the camera so they can see the person. Okay. Oh, because you can't.
They can't see can't see both.
Okay.
All right. So this is the Rocky Mountain Range right here. Very high mountains. The higher the elevation, they get a lot of snow, and it's cooler or colder. And down here, it's where there's more desert land near us, so very dry air will blow in, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit about what causes weather. Your weather is the day-to-day conditions. Climate is over a long period of time. So they look at the weather year after year after year, and it helps them to make predictions about what today's weather will be, because they look back at this time last year or the year before or the year before. And it helps you to predict that in Puerto Rico, when they predict the weather, they're almost positive it's not going to snow.
Always.
At this date, where I come from, more times than not, when I look back on my history on Facebook, it'll be, surprised we still have power, we got 2 feet of snow. So very, very often we get snow in the winter. Almost, it's unusual if we do not get snow. So when it rains here, where I come from, that would be snow. So what causes that? Who can remember? Why does it snow in New Hampshire but not in Texas? What's the difference there? What do you think? One thing, there's 2 things off the top of my head.
Were you raising your hand? Okay.
Yeah. What's one reason you think they get snow instead of the rain that we get? Because it's cold, so temperature, lower temperature. That's probably number 1 reason, is temperature and climate. It's a cold climate and with lower temperatures. What else?
Let me show you the map again. So New Hampshire is about up here, right?
Yeah, by Boston. You see that little hook? So it's right near there.
Okay, and then Texas is around here. So which one is closer to the equator again? Texas, right?
So that's reason number 2, closer to the equator in Texas. And New Hampshire is further from the equator. it's near the ocean, even though there's only a small amount of the state that has shoreline, they're little tiny states. It's like, oh, the size of Austin, the population. But the whole state of Vermont, I think is the same as Austin. So it's not as many people. They have a lot of mountains. It's close to the ocean. It's about 60 miles. So from here to Austin, where I lived in New Hampshire, it was that far to Boston or to the ocean. From my house, it was an hour to the ocean, an hour to the mountains, and or a city. So it's location dictates your weather a lot of times and your climate. Weather is what's happening every single day. Like the weather today is cold, cloudy. What else? Is it windy? Look at the trees. Yeah, we got a little bit of wind. The flag is moving. Okay. And
Do
we
you want
still.
to show the
Yeah,
camera?
oh yeah, we can look out the window again, so we're all on the same page. And
Just flip it over.
yeah, let me. Sorry, folks. Here we go. So there's that flag. Oh, the flag is waving.
I
So-
can't see it.
There's actually a scale they call the Beaufort scale
Oh, I see it.
that will tell you whether it's a 1, a 2, or 3. Can you bring up the term Beaufort scale? Beaufort, I think. And the Beaufort scale is a scale that scientists use. I'm going to leave this here so that we can talk about the weather, and we're all talking about the same thing. Okay. So the Beaufort wind scale is, so a 1 is calm, and let's look on land. Calm, smoke rises vertically. So if there was smoke coming out of the chimneys, it would go straight up. Smoke drifts in the wind direction is light air, 1 to 3. And wind felt on your face, leaves rustle, veins begin to move. That's a 4 to a 6, a light breeze.
Which force would be 2.
Oh, yes, force. For a 3, a force, which is 7 to 10 knots, is a gentle breeze. Let's say leaves and small twigs consistently moving, light flags extended. Ooh.
So what do you think it is outside right now? Would you say it was less than 1, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, or 7 to 10? Why do you think it's 7 to 10? Okay. What else? What have we been talking about? What have we been observing out the window to tell us about the wind direction? What's one thing we've been looking out the window to look at? The flag. Very good.
Right.
Okay.
So you can see that flag moving there. And is it fully, well, I don't know if they have another one using a flag as part of it. But if you saw small trees and leaves begin to sway, they talk about the whole tree, not just the branches. So the right now we have the leaves and small twigs are slowly, they're moving a little bit, right? And the flag's extended. But we don't have dust and leaves flying all over the place.
Do we have
Right.
some spray outside? Was it drizzling like when you came in?
Drizzle when
right?
I came in, it was spitting rain, right? It was
Did you
kinda
get wet this morning when you got off the bus?
like,
Yes, some of you maybe.
Few drops, right? So maybe sprinkles. Yeah. So this is one way. So let me explain why this scale is important. And they usually have, there's some with nice pictures on them. But this scale takes something that's hard to measure, right? It's difficult when you look outside to determine how strong the wind is. So they use descriptors and they describe it and they assign a number to it. So now scientists can go back and say, it was a 4, it was a 1, it was a 7, right? Let's see what a 7 is. A 7 is near gale. Whole trees moving, resistance felt walking against the wind. How many of you have ever been out in the wind and you have to put your head down and walk like this? Probably not so much here.
No.
But where I come from in the wintertime during a big snowstorm, it's not uncommon that you would have the wind blowing so hard that it brings the snow right up at you. So you have to put your head down and do one of these because the wind's so strong. Yeah. Okay.
So do you want to go ahead and go
Yeah.
over those words?
So I'm going to go over your vocabulary, and then I'm going to give you an assignment to work on besides collecting your data. Okay, so we have, and how much time do we have?
Whenever you have to go to Stella.
Oh, is that right? 8:15, wow. We haven't been doing this long at all. Seems like I've been here longer. Okay, so here are the things, the tools that you have to know. So we have to know wind vane. It's a tool that shows direction. And they'll usually use a rooster or something like that. Where do wind vanes go usually? Where do you find them? Yeah.
In a farm.
A lot of times on top of a barn at a farm. Are there a lot of wind vanes in Texas? No, but they have like whirly gigs and stuff like that down here that, right? I don't know, but a wind vane tells you north, south, east, west, or usually the arrow will point in the direction that the wind is blowing. A rain gauge, and I showed you one of these the other day, it's a tool that measures the amount of rain at a location. So we have one of those out in the garden. And so we could go every day, you could go out and measure the amount of precipitation. Thermometer, and we all know what that measures, right? Who can tell me if thermometer measures what? Everybody better know this. What does a thermometer measure? Well, what's the word for the hotness and the coldness? This is a word you need to know. The temperature. Temperature is how hot or how cold. You have the definition, but not the word. So temperature. So a thermometer measures temperature. A rain gauge measures
Water.
the amount of rain or precipitation, right? How much rain. A wind vane measures what or shows what? The direction of the wind. You have to know those three, right? Wind vane, rain gauge, thermometer. Everybody say it with me. Wind vane, rain gauge, thermometer. Okay. So we talked today a little bit about weather and climate. The weather are the current conditions. When you look out the window, what you see outside is the weather. The weather changes day to day. It's generally not the same exact from year to year. Weather is what's happening right now. If there's a tornado or a snowstorm or a rainstorm or it's sunny, that's your weather, right? Mm-hmm. The current conditions, the temperature, the cloud cover, precipitation. Climate is the average conditions over a whole year. So they record you saw on weather.com or the weather on our phone on that app. So weathermen, every single day, they record the weather conditions. They go back to the 1800s. They've been recording the conditions for that long. And so those conditions, those average weather conditions, so when they average, they say over a 5-day period, they add together all the temperatures and they divide by 5, right? And that gives you the average temperature. So they do the average for a particular area year after year after year. And that's climate. They say, and there's a lot of information, data, and scientific evidence to suggest that climate is changing. Is it getting colder or warmer? Today, it feels like it's getting colder, isn't it? But as a whole, the planet is warming up, which causes more extreme weather. And they're seeing those patterns. So they predict those things, and they go back and they look at patterns of change. And they look at evidence to support that. So scientists are big on looking at it for a pattern. So you are going to go back. I don't think we should talk about warm and cold fronts today.
Well,
Or do you want to?
let's bring it up just because of the fact that I've been talking about the fact that this Thursday was supposed to, there was 40% chance of what? That it was going to snow, right? But then, what happened? It changed, right? And now the weather's saying that next week, we have 40% chance again of snow.
It's crazy. I think I brought it with me. Will you pass those out? So I'm passing out some weather symbols. These are symbols that a weatherman would use on a map. So this will help you when you look at a weather map. And today, I'll give you a little bit of time, there we go, to look at a weather map. So these are some symbols you might see on a map. And so we'll let you upload that. And I actually have from last year. And I left copies of everything here for you. I actually have. We want to, I can put this on the overhead. Would that be easier?
Put it in the overhead.
They can't see?
The person online can't
Okay.
be part of it.
So this is, last year we made big weather maps. So I kept this, thank you. These are the symbols that that you really need to know. A warm front, a cold front, stationary means it's not moving, and occluded is, I didn't bring that information. High pressure usually means good weather, and low pressure usually means rainy, stormy weather. So when you look on a map, a weather map, and you see a big H, you know that usually the high pressure usually brings the big billowy clouds, the cumulus clouds. It usually brings blue skies and nice weather. Low pressure system is usually means that behind that low pressure system is rainy, stormy weather.
So occluded is when a cold front overtakes a warm front.
Okay. So the leading edge. So let's see if I have.
Let me take a picture of that real quick.
Yep. So on here. So boundary where a cold air mass replaces a warm air mass. And see how it's triangular? Let me do a little closer. So it's always blue, and it has little points like little triangles. And the leading edge, it shows you the direction it's moving in. Generally, our weather moves from west to east, except in Texas it's a little bit different, not exactly the same. But in Texas, sometimes it comes up from, like from the southwest. But most of the country, there's a big jet stream that goes across the United States. And usually, that's the direction the weather goes, from California to Boston, from the Pacific to the Atlantic. It usually travels in that direction. Oftentimes, the jet stream, which is a big, massive air that goes across the United States, will carry and move weather faster. But cold front, there's cold air and warm air masses. And cold air is much heavier than warm air. So warm air rises, cold air sinks. Just like water, just like anything else. So the Warm air mass is lighter, so the cold air mass is generally stronger. So when a cold air mass is coming in, it will push that warm air right out of the way. So warm air forms at the surface of Earth when a warm, moist air mass overtakes a cool, dense, and drier air mass. So you see how it's rounded, the red and rounded? This is the leading edge. That's the direction it's going in. Okay? So oftentimes what will happen is you have a warm air mass, that cold air mass gets in there and it gets underneath and it pushes it up. Because it's much heavier and denser, and that warm air mass will easily goes up over the cold air mass. So it pushes it out of the way. That's what happened. Like 1 minute it's warm, very warm outside, and then all of a sudden you go out and you go, what happened? You can feel the air change, right? You can feel all of a sudden, boom, it gets really cold. And that's usually a cold front, when a cold front comes in. Have you ever been out and it's kind of chilly and all of a sudden you get this beautiful warm breeze and you feel, whoo, all of a sudden the warm air moves in. And you can feel when the fronts change. You also can feel the change in air pressure. Sometimes your ears will pop. Sometimes your sinuses hurt when the air pressure is changing. Right? And sometimes you can feel it and you go, ooh, feels like we're going to get a storm. My sinuses hurt. So some people are very sensitive to pressure changes. So, okay. So today's weather. Let's talk about that. Daily conditions, you said cold and windy. Anybody have anything else? Look at your map and look at those symbols. See if there's anything else on there that you might want to add. See if there's anything else you might want to add. Anybody? What kind of clouds? Look under cloud types. I want everybody to look outside the window and observe the clouds. Do they look like they blanket the sky? Oh, I wish I had my cloud posters are downstairs. I'm going to bring a cloud poster and I'm going to put it on your window so that you can observe out the window and look at the clouds. Cumulus clouds, can you get me a dry erase marker? Please. I'm going to show you. Thank you. Okay. Those big puffy clouds, those are cumulus clouds.
Do it like a little bit sideways so they can see you.
Yep.
There you go.
Make sure it's spelled correctly. Cumulus. They, this is actually looks like an alto stratus to me. So sometimes they'll show it as it's like a thick blanket. So they describe it like pea soup, that it's thick and it's cloudy and it covers the whole sky. When you look up at that sky, can you see any blue?
Yeah.
You can? Right now? Do you see any blue sky?
No.
So stratus are high clouds that are up high in the sky and they cover over the whole sky like a blanket. And cirrus clouds are usually wispy. And because I wasn't planning on this, I don't remember whether, those are kind of fair weather clouds, I think. These usually are when it's kind of stormy, drizzly, rainy out, you usually have stratus. Cumulus clouds are the big puffy ones that in the blue sky. Cumulonimbus clouds are the big ones that have big puffy clouds, but they're the thunderheads. They have black on them. So they look like cumulus clouds, but they have black thunderheads. So when you look at them, you go, ooh, we're going to get a thunderstorm. Have you ever seen those big scary clouds? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mami.
Give me a thumbs up if you understand.
Okay, give me 1 second. Gustavo, tienes el micrófono abierto, ¿ok? Tienes que apagarlo, amor.
Okay. Oh, so does he understand now, whoever was on the other end of that? Okay. So, a cold front and a warm front. Make sure you understand that, right? Which one is this, if that was blue? Cold front, right? And warm front, right? All right, so cold front, warm front, this is called the leading edge. So right here shows the direction it's moving. Leading edge. So when you look at a weather map, you're going to know the direction that the weather is moving by looking at which way this is pointing. Sometimes they might be going the other way, right? So which means the weather's going this way. In this case, it's going this direction. So whichever way those are pointing towards, that's the direction that the front is moving. That's how they let you know where the leading edge is, let you know where it's going. So what I would like you to do right now is open up your computers. And on that computer, you're going to go to, let's try weather.gov. Here, I'll write it big. Weather.gov.
You can make sure that everybody is in the right place if you don't mind.
Weather.gov.
I need a computer too.
This is the hard
You
part.
can use mine right here.
Yeah, I can I just log it right here? Can I just go to,
Hold on.
okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Weather.gov. Okay, so it should come up to something like this, which is not what the map I want. So I'm gonna see. Let's see. Forecast maps. Click on there, see what we get. Ah, this is exactly what I want right here. So click on the part that says forecast maps. Can you help your table, please? Yep, now click, there's, right across here, go to forecast. Okay. Did you get the forecast maps? Okay, my friend here is helping you to get here. I'd like to show this national forecast chart. Oh, what am I doing? There we go. Okay, everybody look up here. what I did was at the bottom of that big map, it says high resolution version. Right, so this one right here, click on it. So teach everybody in your group. Okay, right here, you're gonna click on that. Click on right here, it says high resolution version. Okay, help everybody in your group. You got it? Help your table. It's the one on the left, and high resolution version. Or I don't know what she's saying. Oh. Forecast map. Whoops, I get the wrong one. You tell me where Texas is. You guys should know where Texas is. Okay, find Texas on your map. I should have brought this up earlier. So on your map, at the bottom, you have a key. Everybody look at the key, not on your elbow, on your map. So you have the same map up. So we're going to talk about this map. Do I need to turn this around?
Can you freeze this and then turn it around?
No, because if you freeze it, yeah, you can freeze it and then we'll do this. Let's see if that will work. Can you turn that camera around? There you go. Hey, can you turn off the lights? There you go. That's better. Yes, that's how we can do it. Yes.
All right.
Come on, turn it on. So then you can see yourself right here.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
There we go. Oh, perfect is right. All right, so you're following, you can look on your own maps, so you get a close-up version as well. And the bottom, everybody put your finger on the map key. Map key. That is the box that shows us what each of these symbols mean. Rain, mixed precipitation, snow, rain and thunderstorms, freezing rain possible. Look at your map and tell me, based on Texas, I want you to look just at those symbols right here in Texas and tell me what type of weather are they predicting? So look, talk about it at your group. Discuss, use the key to help you and talk in your group about what type of weather you think that we're supposed to have in Texas today. Wow. Some places, it looks like there's a real mix. Here's Dallas. We're between the Texas symbol and Dallas. We're right in here. So see where it says Texas, TX, and Dallas? We're somewhere in between there. So what is our weather most likely going to be? I like how you blew yours up so it's easier to see. So somewhere in here is Temple. Ooh, I think I-35 is... So what does it look like our weather's going to be? Freezing rain possible, and rain and thunderstorms. So rain and freezing rain. Chances are rain and freezing rain. So on this one, I told you that high pressure is good weather and low pressure is rainy, stormy weather. So, is there any low pressure near us? Is there a big L anywhere near 10? Yes. See the low pressure systems? Didn't I tell you that usually signals rain or snow? Let's look for the H's. Good weather. Do you see any that they're expecting? Are they expecting snow or rain where the H's are? Oh, here they are. But most of those have good weather near them. Wow, this is a mess, right? No, but there's not, like, right here is snow, but no thunderstorms or no severe weather. Like right here, we're blanketed in freezing rain. Rain here, where it's white, look at the band of snow. That kind of follows the jet stream. So looking up here, see this white? Snow. I was reading on Facebook this morning, my old school, I'm still part of their Facebook page. And they said, be prepared for early dismissal because of bad weather tomorrow, meaning today.
Okay, wait. Can you repeat that again?
Where I was saying on Facebook on my old school's website, they were saying, it's right in New Hampshire, that they're predicting bad weather. So that they were going to get out of school early today because the snow is moving in. So they're anticipating it's going to be snowy this afternoon. Right here. Oh, there you go.
No, doesn't work. Okay.
My spotlight, I always wanted to be in the spotlight.
Can you turn one on? One light on, just.
So we have low pressure. And right here, this
Really?
is when we were talking.
One. Okay. There you
Okay, the blue is what? Warm or cold front? Cold front. And which direction is it going? This direction or this direction? Down. What is down? Look at your key and tell me what down is. North, south, east, or west? On the map, when kids say down, north, south, east, west. This is the east coast. This is the west coast. This is south. This is southern United States. This is northern United States. I'm from the northeast. So the reason they say northeast is I'm from right up here in the United States, between the north and the east, right? So that's why they call this northeast. This is southeast. We're kind of south central. We are right in the middle of the United States, and we're in the southern part of the United States. So south central United States is Texas. Does that make sense? No? Yeah? So the direction, the cold front is moving south. Ooh, Puerto Rico and Florida might freeze their oranges. Puerto Rico, who knows? Maybe they're going to get some cold weather. It might hit the 70s. Okay. Alrighty. So go back. See if you can go back on that page to the original.
Okay.
Escape.
All right. Where do you want them to go?
I'm trying to. What? How do you get back?
All right. Okay.
Okay. So, what's that? So getting back to this page, we want to.
Where do you want them to go so I can
I don't know.
freeze it?
I am trying to figure that out. I want them to look back at prior years. I don't want to look at all the, I don't know where, let's look in the bottom where it goes okay. So, historical weather, I'm trying to think of past forecast models. Might have to go, let me see. Oh, I had one there. So, use the internet to research weather data from the year your teacher assigns. I think they should have to look up the weather, the dates of this week for
Past weather.
Past weather, there we go. Can they put the date in? What year were you born? 2011. So let's see if we can figure out the weather for, do we want a different part of the country or do we want to compare it to past weather date. Let's compare Temple, Texas,
Okay, but
if it'll let us.
where would we go?
Um,
Here, you want to mess with this? Or?
yeah, I used to, Weather Underground has a Wonderground. Let me try open a new tab. So we're going to go back. Give me 1 second, see if I can find where it is. Wonderground. Wonderground, Temple, Texas. There we go. Weather Underground. Temple, Texas. For 1-1. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you are going to do, it's called Wonderground, Weather Underground. Everybody knows their birthday. What do you mean you don't know your birthday? Today's temperature is forecast to be cooler than yesterday. So look right here where it says today's temperature is forecast to be cooler than yesterday. This is a site called Weather Underground. So this is the website. WUNDERGRO Wonderground.com. And on there, Weather US Texas Temple. That's what I did. And this is not historical, but this is actually good. So how do I just take a picture?
Just do freeze.
Yep.
Do freeze on the.
Okay.
Did it do it?
Yep. Okay, so Weather Underground,
No, it didn't.
and you'll see Wonderground Temple, Texas. So when you start to bring it up, it'll go Wonderground Temple, Texas. It'll come up in your search.
Okay, are you going to explain this so that
Yep.
you can see it?
So I'm trying to get them on there. Wonder.
Okay, so you're going to go to Wonderground.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, but they can't see it on the camera.
Oh.
.com.
Yep. So Wonderground. Does it say Temple, Texas? Okay, where? Yep. Oh, weather history for Temple, Texas. Let's see. No, that page isn't working. Go back. Okay. So here is the URL. We're going to go, so this will bring you exactly where I am. Okay, I'll put it right here. Underground. .com. I gotta go in a minute. Weather. .us / Texas / Temple. Some of them will lead you right to it in your search. Weather Underground Temple, Texas, it said. How many of you got that? There you go. Okay, if you've got it, help your friends. So today, Wednesday, February 10th, high of 42 degrees, 47% precipitation. This is tonight, this is tomorrow. So they are helping to predict, says today's temperature is forecast to be cooler than yesterday. I have to go. No, that's. And this shows you. It's hard for me to teach science, not in the lab, because I have all the maps and the stuff I can refer to. So, this is what maybe you could do this tomorrow. This is the history and then that. Okay, so now that you've taken a look at that, I want you to see, I have to leave, but I want you to see if on this page, if you can find weather history, because I know that they have it on here. So look around the site, explore the site, look at the different types of weather maps. Yep. So, on that site, if you go down, it has some, it says, KACT Station History Almanac for February 10th, 2021.
What does it mean?
You should be able to go back, I think on that, if you look, you can go back to prior years and look at what the weather was like last year on this date, or several years ago, or the year you were born. Okay? So, the page for Temple, Texas, this is the page right here, will help you to look back on the history. I have to go to downstairs. Okay, so explore that site and see if you can find past years. Anybody find it? Okay, I took my keys off. So. There. Keys in my water bottle. Yeah, no, that's hers. All right, you guys. Thank you.
Say thank you.
Thank you. So with the next group, I'll bring up some maps and some others.
Or we can come to you. What do you want? We can come to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, guys. So we are here, and we are going to go ahead and wrap it up with science. Okay. Tell me a couple things that we've talked about in science today that you did not know about. So what you're doing now, obviously, when the teacher's talking, what do? Right? So you're not touching your computer for anything. All right. You are watching your teacher. Okay. So tell me one thing that we talked about today. Algo que aprendimos hoy. Yes. What did we talk about? Yes. Come on. Okay, but what about weather? Yes, sir. Okay, we talked about fronts. We talked about cold fronts, warm fronts. Remember we talked about occluded? What does occluded mean? It's a cold front that takes over a what? A warm front, right? What else did we talk about, Rachel? I saw you raising your hand. We talked about symbols, right, of weather on a map, right? What else? About the differences in what? Of climate, right? Okay. About clouds, differences in clouds, right? So tomorrow we'll start a different activity. I just wanted to go ahead and wrap up science. Now we're going to transition into math. Gustavo, ¿todavía estás con nosotros? No. All right, so Gustavo left us. So this is the deal, okay? Everyone put away your science notebooks, okay? So here's the thing. Miss Jackson is going to come around with a stapler, and she's going to staple your weather symbols to your notebook, okay? All right, so be ready for that. Have your weather symbol in your notebook so that Miss Jackson can go ahead and do that. Allison, that's why we get in trouble. So the next thing you are going to do is I am going to pull up the math agenda, okay? Today we said we were going to do what? Do you remember what we said we were going to do? So we are going to do our math game review, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing. But also, let's go over really quickly. Let me change the view of the camera, and let's go over the problems that we did not finish yesterday. So let's go over the problems that we didn't finish. So vamos a terminar los problemas que hicimos ayer, okay? So let's go ahead and work on that right now. So your homework was to finish what? The problems in the back of the test review, correct? All right, so Omar, can you go ahead and erase my board, please? So I had asked everyone to be ready with their math stuff out, remember? And I still have people who are still going to their desk. Thank you. All right, once Miss Jackson staples that, put away your notebook. And then do me a favor and put away your science notebook, please, once your stuff has been stapled. Here you go, sir. There's another one here. All right, so before I begin that, let me just stop the other video so that it'll be easier for me to upload. So this will conclude our science video. Let's go ahead and let's start recording again.